In this lesson, we'll be going through why I think you should be editing your photos and what I think are the 5 key areas for editing. Why edit your photos? Cameras see very differently to the human eye, as they try to capture as much information as possible, which results in a low contrast and desaturated RAW file. But the benefit is vastly improved dynamic range and more colour information in the image. Therefore, we need to edit the photo to make it look more like it did in real life. But what if I shoot JPEG? Now, JPEGs are just raw files that your camera edits for you and throws away all of the extra data. This results in an image that ends up having less dynamic range, so you lose details in the shadows or the highlights, sometimes both. And it also means there's less latitude for editing it later on if you want to change it in the future. And you can't actually change the white balance afterwards like you can with a RAW file. So when you change the white balance on a JPEG, the image will just start to break up if you take it too far one way or the other, whereas with a RAW file you can change it to whatever white balance you need to be and it doesn't affect the photo negatively. And JPEGs also give you less control over sharpening. So because of all of this, I always recommend shooting in RAW. The only exception to this is if you're just shooting for fun and editing would destroy your soul. I personally love editing, so don't be scared. What does editing actually consist of? In my opinion, there are 5 main areas to editing. The first is cropping, the second is tonality, the third is the colour, fourth are local adjustments, and fifth is sharpening. Don't be afraid to use the crop tool, especially if you shoot handheld most of the time like me. It's one of the best ways to reframe your shot and get the composition just as you need it to be. Tonality is all about getting your shadows, midtones and highlights at the right brightness, and it's very easy to overdo contrast when you're adjusting the tonality, so definitely watch out for that. The key thing when editing colours is emphasising certain ones that you want to show and then toning down some of the ones that are kind of distracting. We also need to get the right white balance and remove colour casts, as well as add saturation into the image in general. Saturation is something that's, again, very easy to overdo and something we want to avoid at all costs. Local adjustments allow us to change small parts of the image, which is great for highlighting eyes or darkening down areas that are a bit too bright. Local adjustments would also include things like dodging and burning, which I'll go through in the walkthrough later. And lastly, we use sharpening to make the in-focus edges a bit more defined. In summary, you should be editing your photos unless it takes all of the joy out of the hobby for you. And the 5 key areas of editing are cropping, tonality, colour, local adjustments and sharpening. In the next lesson, I'm going to be editing a photo from scratch so you can see a bit more of my process.